Oh, die stehen jetzt wirklich beide da. I suppose there is a first time for everything. Shall we proceed? Your name to begin with, if you would, Lamerois. Yes. He says Machi Tobaya, the defendant.
This is certainly a first for this courtroom.
Ich glaube, das gab es schon mal. Ich habe mich das auch gerade gefragt.
Not that we really needed an interpretation of that message in particular.
So far, so good.
Very well, Mr. Justice, if you would.
Huh? I would what, Your Honor?
You would what? You called the defendant to the stand, did you not? What would you have him testify about?
What do I want him to testify about? I hadn't thought that far yet. Ja, was uns sagen wollte. Apollo, aren't you going to ask him what he was about to tell us yesterday? How can I if I don't know what he was saying? Excuse me a moment if I might speak. Oh, ein Milford mit einer Nachricht.
Yes, Lamerois?
Just now Machi said there's something about which he wishes to testify. Machi wants to testify about something. What could it be? Ja, bist du eigentlich irgendwie gestern mit der Schaukel gegen die Wand geschaukelt? Wahrscheinlich das, was er dir gestern auch sagen wollte, du Gehirn.
What sort of testimony is he talking about?
One moment, please. Ah, the suspense is killing me. What? What? What?
Well, Lamerois?
According to Machi, he has proof of his innocence.
What?
This is a surprise. Yahoo, victory, Apollo, we did it! Ja, so früh würde ich mich jetzt aber nicht freuen. This is sounding too good to believe, and I know what that usually means.
Well, if that's true, then this is vital testimony. Machi, please testify to the court.
Very well. He says that word of Mr. Letoux's death came as a great shock. But if the killing truly followed the lyrics of my song, I, that is, he, could not have done it. He says that because the lyrics are in English, he does not understand them. Oh, das hatten wir ja tatsächlich schon mal viel früher angemerkt.
I see. He wouldn't have understood the English lyrics to the song. That would prevent him from following them so closely.
I wondered what he meant by proof. Why, he would only have to ask Lamerois to know the meaning of that song. Lamerois, did you ever explain the lyrics of that song to him? I did tell him generally what the song was about, but never in so much detail, and he never asked. As my oft-repeated warning already fled that forehead, Lamerois might be protecting the witness.
Well, anyway, let us proceed with cross-examination for now. Mr. Justice, if you would.
Yes, Your Honor. Something is hidden in the testimony, I know it. I'll just have to trust my bracelet to tell me we're on 9. It worked yesterday, it'll work today. Jetzt muss ich hier wieder das Bracelet benutzen. Jetzt habe ich auch noch 2 Leute hier. Das ist ja noch schlimmer. Oh Mann, man sieht da muss in seine Augen. Okay, wir gucken ihm erstmal ins Gesicht. Killing truly follow the lyrics of my song. Da wird wahrscheinlich nicht sein, weil das ist ja auch keine richtige... Ich meine, was will man da jetzt rauskriegen, wenn das jetzt... Oh krass, der Hintergrund bewegt sich ja sogar anders mit anderer Geschwindigkeit als der Vordergrund. Alright, that is he could not have done it. Ich wette, das Einzige, was wir jetzt gleich rausfinden, ist, dass er in Wahrheit Englisch kann. Und das hilft uns dann erstmal voll überhaupt nicht. Der hat das krasseste Pokerface des Jahrhunderts. glaube ja nicht, dass sie irgendwo jetzt lügen wird. Oh. Krass, tatsächlich. Wow. Gut, dass du das gesehen hast. Ich war schon wieder dabei, woanders hinzugucken.
Gotcha!
Machi, you can't fool my eyes. 'Cause I'm Superman. You glanced toward her the very moment Lamerois said the word English. Why? And don't bother interpreting that. He understands me. Machi, tell the truth. You can understand English, can't you? What are you saying? Of course he can't. Must you continue this charade? Mr. Justice, Machi says this. I know the word English. Ich wollte auch gerade sagen, das wundert mich jetzt eigentlich nicht, weil selbst wenn er die Sprache nicht kennt, wird er wahrscheinlich das Wort Englisch kennen. Huh? Before coming to this country, he heard me speaking English. He learned the name for this language, that is all. What? Give me a break. Is that such an unusual word to understand? Do you not know Espanol, for instance? Well, yeah, but... I'm sorry, but he truly does not understand your language. Well, then explain this. How does he know the crime followed the lyrics? Have you always been such a suspicious-minded lad? It is simple, so simple it hardly requires an explanation. He read about it in the newspaper. Das kann ja gar nicht sein, weil da haben wir ja vorhin die Erklärung zu bekommen. Doesn't mention the lyrics. The Virginia Daily Bugle. You can buy it in this country these days, you know. They have already begun to report about this case in our homeland. I was right. What is wrong, Mr. Justice? Your eyes, they are quite fierce all of a sudden. Machi is lying. Maybe it's time to show them proof that he's lying.
Take that!
I have here a Virginia newspaper, the Virginia Daily Bugle, as a matter of fact. Indeed, there is a feature article about the case. Could you read this for me, Machi? That's right. It doesn't mention the lyrics. What? What is this all about? I'm sorry, Machi. You couldn't have read about the lyrics in a Virginia newspaper. Wahrscheinlich. Oder vielleicht nicht, aber er hat ja vorhin selber gesagt, dass er es in genau der Zeitung gelesen hätte. Da. He read about it in the newspaper. The newspaper? The Virginia Daily Bugle. You can buy it in this country these days. Und das ist auch genau die wir haben. But I don't see how it's possible. Oh, I know. You must have heard the lyrics when the police were doing the questioning. Not possible. The subject of the lyrics was not brought up by the police questioning. I read the full report myself. So the lyrics were in the newspaper and the police didn't mention them. The only place you could have heard them was in this courtroom. In English, no less.
The witness will explain himself.
Machi says,
Yes.
it is true I read the newspaper, but this is not where I learned of the lyrics. I was mistaken. Now I remember. You remember? He says he heard of the lyrics from me. What?
Is this true, Lamerois?
Yes, I'm afraid I had forgotten it myself. Oh, jetzt lügt die aber selber. Then it looks like her... ich glaube, Klavier Gavin meinte, dass es in der Ausgabe... Weiß ich auch nicht. But it looks like her forehead's been jumping to conclusions again.
It seems so, yes.
No. I was onto something. I know it. I can't let this chance slip away.
Time is an issue today, Mr. Justice. Are you finished with the cross-examination?
What are you going to do, Apollo? If I'm going to keep on cross-examining, I'd better have an angle of attack. Or else. My bracelet is still reacting. Your Honor, please allow me to continue.
If you must, you must. Very well, witness.
I understand. It was I who... Jetzt ist sie wahrscheinlich am Lügen. Da wieder. Jetzt müssen wir sie also auch noch passiven.
Gotcha!
Echt mal. La Miroir, I'm currently cross-examining Machi. Why should you be uncertain? Me? Uncertain? Yes, you swallowed the very moment you told the court. It was I who explained. I see there's little point in trying to hide anything from you. La Miroir, are you indeed protecting someone? That is not a question with a simple answer. To tell the truth, I do not believe it myself. Then allow me to answer for you. La Miroir, you're protecting... Na, ihn. La Miroir, you are protecting Machi. That's why you lied and told us that you had explained how the crime followed the song. I don't fault you for trying to help, but this is not the way. Machi, I believe you didn't do it, really. I trust you, but you've lied to us twice, and now you have La Miroir lying on your behalf. If this is going to work, you have to trust me too. Your two lies cover a simple truth. You understand English, you have to.
Witness, is this true? Do you understand English?
Yes, a little, only.
What?
Der Richter kriegt auch nochmal irgendwann einen Herzinfarkt hier. First he could see, now he can talk. And you did not know about this, La Miroir. No, I did not. It is quite a surprise.
How many secrets is this witness hiding?
Last. This is last. Machi, could you tell us what really happened? No shooting. I did no shooting. So you weren't in the dressing room when I heard those two gunshots, correct? Ah, doch, da war er wahrscheinlich. Apparently the answer to that question isn't simple either. I was in dressing room, behind desk. Manager, he on floor. Which would be after the shooting, right? Then there his voice. Voice? Or voices? Was it you and Emma, Apollo? So when Machi went to the dressing room, Mr. Latouche had already been shot. And then we came to the door. Panel high up. I take off, run away. Run away. So it was you who escaped through that air vent. As the prosecution has upheld all along, no less. The defendant has admitted to being at the scene. Might we take this as a confession?
Objection!
No, he's clearly denied that he did it. I know shooting, manager on floor, already on floor.
Objection!
The victim had already been shot, you say. I find that hard to believe. The defendant understood the song lyrics. He was at the scene of the crime. This can only mean one thing. He is the shooter.
Does the defendant have anything to say to this?
He's climbed up, Apollo.
Then it's us, Mr. Justice. Will you require any further testimony from the witness?
Is that it? Is there nothing else I can get him to testify about? Wait, no, of course there is. What is this cocoon anyway? What's going on? Well, Machi, are you a smuggler?
Oh.
He won't tell. That cocoon has to have something to do with this. Machi, please tell us the truth for your own sake. No, no more speak. Not to any of you. So much for your precious trust, her forehead. Hey, you are the one who didn't believe him. Regardless, this brings us to an impasse. Gorilla auf Koks will ich nicht treffen.
It does seem that the defense and defendant are at odds. I doubt we are likely to learn anything more of value should this continue. I see no other course but to declare a 5-minute recess. The defense will work things out with the defendant so that we might proceed.
Apollo used... Apollo used this. That's justice. Better learn how to say it if you ever want to get some. Belief. I no shooting. Machi claims Mr. Latouche was already down on the ground when he entered the room. Maybe it was a trap and he walked right into it. Suddenly I hear revolver, close, very close. Then I hear voice.
You heard gunshots?
Yes, it's true. I hear revolver, but only sound.
Ich sag's euch doch. Wait, you're saying you went into the dressing room and found Mr. Latouche already dead and then you heard shots?
That's true. So, you were at the scene of the crime when you heard those shots?
And you escaped through the air vent?
No. Huh? What do you know? I know if I open a vent, I can leave stage and backstage.
So the vents went to both the stage and the backstage area. Vielleicht war die für den Trick nötig.
Is that what he means? Hey, he's right. Look, Apollo.
Huh? Yeah. But how did you know it was connected like that?
Wait, I bet his father was the architect that designed the hall or something. I hear this from magician.
Magician?
Don't look at me.
The magician, huh?
Well, at least we're clear on one thing. Machi didn't shoot Mr. Latouche.
Yeah, but what does that leave us with? We're supposed to say he went into the room to find the body, and then he heard the shots? That one is going to go over well in court. Not.
Apollo, you're his defense. You're supposed to believe whatever he says, even lies. That's what Daddy always told me.
I'll just pretend you misheard him every time. So, what do we do?
You sure you won't testify, Machi? No talking, no. Well, it was worth a shot.
That cocoon. Can't go home, can't go home. I can't go home to Virginia. I do not want to go home. The penalty for taking a cocoon to Virginia is death. That's what I call it, death. Of course, he's scared. Oh well, I guess we'll just have to try a different approach.
That's the spirit, Apollo. So what's your plan?
If Machi won't testify about it, we'll have to get someone else to testify.
Someone else?
I think we're out of time. Let's get back in there.
Right.
Aber wen?
Court is now back in session. Mr. Justice, have you sorted things out with the defendant?
Yes, Your Honor. Well, kind of.
Very well. So, will he testify?
Your Honor, the defendant will not testify.
What?
Saying, and here I thought this was your big chance to turn the case around. Actually, it is. The defense would like to approach this case from a different angle, Your Honor.
A different angle?
If Machi won't testify, then I know who will. I would like to cross-examine the witness in this case. La Miroir, or nicht ich schon wieder.
La Miroir? Objection!
What are you up to now? I thought we determined yesterday that La Miroir's testimony was insubstantial. There's nothing you can... La Miroir was taken to the hospital yesterday with injuries. Ach so, um Sie dazu befragen.
What happened?
She was assaulted, Your Honor.
Assaulted?
Someone wanted La Miroir dead. Thankfully, she was able to save herself.
What? I've heard no such report.
Prosecutor Gavin, why would anyone be out to kill La Miroir? Can you think of a reason?
Well,
think of how she is known in our country. A singer from overseas who doesn't speak English, yes. Yet someone tried to keep her mouth shut. Who could that have been?
You don't think...
I do. It was the same person who shot Mr. Latouche. The killer was afraid of her, afraid of what she might say. The defense believes that something was hidden in her testimony yesterday, something that the killer doesn't want getting out. So am I to understand that this is what you are saying? Namely, that there is a nugget of truth in La Miroir's testimony, a nugget we have yet to uncover. Exactly.
If La Miroir was attacked, this has serious implications. Very well. There were some vague points in her testimony during yesterday's trial. Perhaps we did not inquire as deeply as we might have into some. The court will hear La Miroir's testimony once more.
La Miroir, I must apologize. We must ask you to stand again and speak.
You need not apologize. I know that Machi is innocent, and I will do all that I can until the court realizes this. Let's review your testimony from yesterday. You told us you heard 2 gunshots and the shooter's voice through the window, and that the voice belonged to Darian Crescent, yes?
That is correct.
At which point I proved she could not be correct. She couldn't have heard any of those things. The small window at the scene was closed and was found to be quite soundproof.
You have nothing to say to that, Mr. Justice?
I don't know exactly what yet, but I do know there's something there. There is, it seems, much you do not know.
And yet it is my duty to hear him out. Perhaps the witness would be so kind as to testify once more to the court.
Of course, Your Honor.
Oh, gleich ist es 21:30 Uhr.
I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. That's when I heard them, Mr. Latouche and the detective. I heard the faint sound of a gunshot and stopped. Then I heard another gunshot. There was the smell of gunpowder. I knew I must tell someone, but I was in a hurry, so I kept moving past the small window.
Die Dinge, die Sie nicht wissen, Mr. Justice, könnten Lagerhäuser füllen.
Pretty much the same as yesterday's testimony.
I am sorry. I am not used to speaking much in this language. Perhaps my descriptions are lacking in some way. Yet everything I have said here is the truth.
Then it is my distinct displeasure to say this. What you have said to have happened is impossible. Do I have to repeat myself? Lamerois was attacked because of this testimony. What, Trucy? Apollo, you know, for a moment there, you were pretty cool. Maybe I do better when I don't try to think ahead.
Very well, Mr. Justice. Perhaps you can coolly cross-examine the witness.
I was on my way from this. Okay, ich mache erstmal hold it überall.
Is something wrong?
I know I said hold it. She's saying the same thing she said before.
Mr. Justice.
Sorry, it's nothing. Please continue with your testimony.
Now I know what they mean about the reckless youth these days.
But the one in red over there is a shining exemplar, Judge. You're the last person who should be pointing fingers, Mr. Rockstar. So I heard Mr. Susan the detective. Darian Crescent.
I did not know his name at the time, but yes, it was him, the one who took the stand yesterday.
How many times do I need to remind you that's impossible? There is no way you could have heard him. Because the window at the scene was closed? Is that why? Of course.
Apollo, if we keep asking the same questions as yesterday, we won't get anywhere.
She's right. Maybe there's a different angle I can try. Lamerois, do you by any chance remember what they were saying to each other? If so, please tell us.
I've given it much reflection, but
I was afraid of this. She doesn't remember.
I only heard one phrase clearly.
The whole phrase? You remember something that was said? Why didn't you say anything yesterday?
Though my memory is clear, I was afraid to speak. You see, I do not understand what was said.
This could be it. The clue I've been waiting for. Well, what did he say?
It was the other man speaking, not Mr. Latouche.
The shooter, then. Darian Crescent.
Well, what did he say?
It's over. Press the switch now.
Switch? And the shooter said this to the victim, Mr. Latouche?
I thought it quite strange myself afterward.
It is a mystery. What could it possibly be? Mr. Justice, care to shed some light on this?
I mean, sure, I'd be delighted. It's very, very vital. Maybe we could add that to the testimony. Maybe, Apollo? Press the switch now. Vielleicht können wir ja den Switch mal präsentieren. Aber es ist jetzt eigentlich keine Objection. Vielleicht erstmal hold it. And it was Detective Darian Crescent's voice.
Yes, I am sure of it.
It's over. Press the switch. Why would he say that to Mr. Latouche?
Apollo, the murder weapon, the revolver, was Mr. Latouche's, right? Yeah, what of it?
Well, maybe when he said press the switch, he really meant to say pull the trigger, because his English isn't so good.
Darian Crescent is a native speaker.
Oh, right. Sorry, I kind of forgot who was what.
Press the switch. That's not something a killer usually says to the victim, is it?
Was there no one else in the room?
I do not know. All I heard was Mr. Latouche and the detective.
Ich präsentiere einfach mal den Switch. Weil präsentieren ist ja eigentlich eher für Contradictions. Aber press the switch. There's only one key that can unlock the mystery of those words. Oh. Yet there was nothing at the scene that could be called a switch, save the lights. True, there wasn't a switch at the scene, but it just so happens I have a switch right here.
That certainly does look like a switch, doesn't it?
Doof ist natürlich, dass wir das in Machis Klavier gefunden haben. The problem is, this was found not at the scene of the crime, but on the stage.
The stage?
Where the concert was held. Yes, this was found hidden there, on the stage.
Are you claiming that the voice Lemeroy heard was of someone commanding another to press this switch?
It's a possibility.
Objection!
Oh, her forehead. I would call that an impossibility. Why? It's hardly necessary for me to remind the court of the layout of the concert forum. The stage is quite far from Lemeroy's dressing room. Not to mention that the Gavins were in the middle of a concert on said stage. We aren't known for being a quiet band. You could shout all you wanted and not be heard.
The detective's voice was loud, but certainly not a shout.
So too have her forehead's cries of possibility fallen far short of being heard. Sorry, but he wouldn't have needed to shout. Excuse me, you heard what I said, or do you need me to shout it out for you? It would have been quite simple to be heard on the stage from that dressing room. Oh wait, you like evidence, don't you? How about this? Using this, it would be easy to get a message to someone on stage from the dressing room. Wahrscheinlich die transceivers. Prosecutor Gavin, perhaps you're familiar with this. Why, that's...
What is it? Is that some kind of newfangled phone they invented while I wasn't looking?
This is a type of transmitter, a communications device.
Communications device?
From what I've heard that night, everyone on stage was wearing one of these. Isn't that right, Prosecutor Gavin? Yes, actually, they're for talking between band members. We all had one on. So you admit that if you were wearing one of these, talking from the backstage to the stage would be simple.
Objection!
True, but wait, those send out an electronic signal. To avoid interference with the audio system, the range is quite limited.
Lemeroy said it was about 30 feet, right?
Look at this cross-section diagram of the concert forum. Ah, exactly. The walk from the stage to the backstage seems far, but the direct distance is less than 30 feet.
That can't be. So when Lemeroy heard the shooter's voice, he could have been talking to someone on stage.
Objection!
Ha! You're claiming this is the switch in question? Why did it have to be on stage at the time?
It could be placed in the pocket and carried anywhere. Someone could have hid it on the stage after the fact.
Hey, he's got a point. How do we know where it was when she heard the voice? When the shooter said, press the switch.
Well, I guess we don't.
An unfortunate situation. I'm afraid that until we know where the switch was, there's little point in debating it.
Oh, so. Dann muss ich für heute hier aufhören.